Alright folks, I'm going to start this again. I just tried to record this video, but my computer's being a bitch. So, as it were, what are we doing today? Well, the guardsman made a suppressor for his airgun, and he's going to teach you how to make it. He's also going to tell you a few things that you should very well pay attention to, so pay attention right now. Never, ever make this thing for a firearm. You will hurt yourself. I guarantee it. This cannot go on a firearm. If you use it on a firearm, it can explode and it can cause you physical harm. Never attempt it on a firearm. This is made specifically for an airgun. It will never be placed on a firearm. And if somebody attempts to do so with my piece, they will get an ass whooping from yours truly. With that out of the way, we have ourselves a suppressor made from 3 parts. Fuck, I hate this thing. But it has to be this way. Come on. It's a royal pain in the butt to get it apart so that you can clean it, but that's a good thing. Because all it is a PVC pipe, okay, or PVCA really, that's what this is. But, which is, anyways, it is flat on one end and it is rounded upon the other in order to give aesthetic, visual, aesthetics and a visual reference point on which end goes on to the old yeet cannon over there. So this right here, as you can see, it's just a holler tube. As you can see, nothing special in there. There's nothing else restricting the flow. Okay, so gas goes through there with the greatest of ease. But here's the difference. This is built off of a design of a firearm suppressor which utilizes holes drilled into the side of a barrel for the relief of gas. Now this is a little different in the idea that once the pellet has left the end of the barrel and entered here, it is no longer engaging any metal, any rifling, nothing. It is flying freely. But the gas wave behind it that is still keeping up with it has to go somewhere, or it will expand out the front and create a sonic boom. So in order to stop the sound, we allow the gas to pour it off the sides here and then place another seal in front of it about yay far away inside of there. So what happens is that it moves forwards and backwards inside, and the reverberation cancels out the noise from, well, doesn't entirely cancel out, but it drops the majority of the noise so that the air gun may operate a little bit more quietly. Okay? Now, how does it reciprocate in there, you might ask? Well, it's fairly simple. If you look at the front end of that, you'll see that there are 2 gaps on either side of the seal here. And those gaps on the seal of that baffle are to allow the gas to come from the front end and around the sides. That reacts with the high pressure here, which causes a reciprocating motion. It will always end its stroke rebutting up against the barrel. But in order to make sure that the front of the relief column and the brass ring seals up against the end of the pellet rifle, it is important to be centered, which is exactly why we have these popsicle sticks, that's all they are, with some electrical tape wrapped around the doobly thing, and then according to the inner diameter of this particular piece of PVC pipe. Now, as I've been saying, you cannot use this on a firearm. If you do, you will cause yourself personal injury. Do not do this for a firearm. Yes, you can make this at home. Do not do this on a firearm. If you do, I am not liable for your dumbass mistake. Okay, now that we got all that crap out of the way, let's have some fun. Okay? We get through this, it simply goes into this like so. You can see how it's indexed, okay? Round end towards the muzzle brake. You go in with the spacer first with the little seal ring there. Goes inside, okay? Goes all the way inside. And then you place your ring here on the other side of that. Now, how would I make this, you might ask? Well, it's fairly simple. Just a couple of wooden rings, okay? Wooden rings and 3 bullet casings and, well, two popsicle sticks, okay? Because that's kind of obvious with the 2 ends there. But yeah, they're 2 popsicle sticks together. And all that they're doing, and you cut them into pieces, and all that they do is they span the width of the inside of the can. And that keeps this thing, you know, basically sealed inside, but, you know, allows it to reciprocate in there and line up appropriately. Now, let's assemble it. It's that simple, okay? Place in. Goes all the way in, push it in, make sure it butts up against the end there so that when you put the barrel in, it butts up against the metal ring here because it's important. Otherwise, you won't get a reciprocating action. It'll just kind of be like a dead default and it'll never make the sound go away. It's important to have that reciprocating action. Now, we take this seal, and every time you take this out, it's going to muss up this nice work that I'm sure you're going to do just like I did with the electrical tape or what have you. Whatever you use to seal it, it's going to muss it up. So you're going to have to be constantly fixing it or replacing it. Now, that's why I used black electrical tape, because it is very good for this. It is made of PVCA, so it will lock against the inside of this barrel with, you know, relative ease. Also, if you look there, it's just a little bit over diameter for the pellet. That's an important aspect of how pellet guns work. At the time that that pellet exits the barrel, the end of the barrel, the muzzle, not the can, but the muzzle, it's already dropping. So it's important that you have just enough space in there, okay? Just enough space through there that you can pass a pellet without having it ding the sides of this. It's important, okay? So next, we're going to put the seal in. And the seal goes in fairly simply. It's kind of easy to do. It's also fairly easy to mess it up, so you got to do it with a certain amount of precision and expectation. Okay? When you shoot this gun, it's probably going to push your seal a little bit. So in order to make it sure that it locks itself in place, you're going to take this seal and you're going to press it in. If I can get it to do it again. This is why I like having a nice computer and a nice camera to do this stuff. It's kind of hard to do stuff in the middle of nowhere with nothing. But we'll win anyways, alright? Okay, so now, as you can see, it's slightly recessed into the end of the can, and that is so that this will line up with the in diameter of the can and keep everything in line. And as you can see, by looking past, through it, there is a small, yeah, there we go, a small amount of deviation from the front to the back, not much, okay, but it's enough so that the pellet, when traveling out of the barrel, or out of the can, does not impact that end seal, and it's important, okay? Now, how does this go on, you might ask? Well, it's fairly simple. And this is why folks would say, oh, well, you could put that on a firearm. No, you can't. Not unless you're a dumbass and you're trying to hurt yourself. In which case, you should be arrested. Because you're trying to hurt yourself. What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyways. So we take this, you see that right there, it's still in the end of the barrel, okay? Or in the end of the can. We place this on the end of the muzzle brake here, and then we press down until we get a good gas seal. And you'll see it's that the flash hider is still extending a little bit outside of the can, and that's important. Again, because what it is it's a gas seal. It's not supposed to be something that, oh, well, it's all the way up inside. Gas will come around the outside of that, and there's no room for this to reciprocate now. It needs the room to reciprocate. Okay, there you go. Fairly simple, easy to make and manufacture, easy to do yourself, and easy to make it so that it's relatively safe for you to use. In fact, I'm sorry, I take that back. Effectively safe for you to use, and it's cheap. Now, that being said, one should never utilize these materials for making a suppressor or silencer, for a firearm, okay? When you're making one for a firearm, first off, have your correct licensing. It's important. But when you're making one of these for a firearm, never, ever, ever, ever use plastic. If you use plastic, you're a dumbass, and you deserve your Darwin Award. Okay? Now, this will not fit inside of your traveling case while it's on the gun. And there's a reason for that. It's illegal to travel with a suppressor on any projectile weapon. That's why this is designed specifically, so that it cannot be on the weapon until the point in time when you are absolutely ready to utilize it. And then you have to put it on. You can't just have it, pull it out, and then, okay, we're ready to go. You have to, as you can see, slide that to the one end of the barrel so that the reciprocating action is right, and this is abutted up against the tip of your flash hider. Then you place this on the end and press it on. And it takes a little bit of extra force at the tip of the barrel. The tip of the barrel is on the inside of the flash hider, and it will press against the outside of the flash hider, causing the flash hider to have a slight tapered design. Okay? Now, inside of there, that's mostly that thing rattling around. And that's all you're going to hear is just tung, ta-ding, ta-ding. Some folks might think that, oh no, that doesn't sound right, man, that's dangerous, it's going to blow up, it's going to do all this crap. Let me just... Grandma, unclench your pearls! It ain't that big a deal. It's a pellet gun. That being said, if I did this on a firearm, one, it would be illegal. 100% illegal. Because I don't have that licensing for a firearm. Okay? Secondly, and more importantly, it would be dangerous. Because any homemade suppressor system on a firearm that is not made according to the specs, the CNC machining specs that are absolute when it comes down to making suppressors, because they're taking on so much pressure. You do it at your own risk. And I'm not one to take stupid risks. I still take risks, yeah. I shoot air guns. Duh. You're going to have ricochets. But I don't take unnecessarily stupid risks. And there's a difference, okay? Now, onter yonter. What was next in the video, and that is not that thing moving, sorry. Here we go. Pellpowder. It is a proprietary blend of a specific type of fuel oil and a silicone Teflon fuel lubricant that is then mixed into a stria, which holds the lubricant in the end of a pellet when you want it to be in there. Okay? See? It's stuck in there, not coming out. That's because all it is Lucas Fuel Treat, Teflon silicone from, where's that bottle at? Ah, here we go. Here we go. All right. This is one. This is something from DuPont, okay? And no, DuPont has not sponsored this video in any way. I claim no credit for anything of their products, okay? And I just simply use it because I know it's a good product. And I've used it for decades in my air guns because it works really, really, really well. So well, in fact, that this is the end result coming out of my pellet rifle. Now, you normally wouldn't see that with your rinky-dink little not diesel in your air gun because you believe in the fantasy hype bull crap. Right? That's not something you normally would see from a pellet rifle of this particular caliber and generation, correct? I mean, this is a first gen Springer. Or no, sorry, this is second gen Springer. Third gens are out now with the nitro piston and the the gas dump pneumatic, which is a new proprietary design just out on the market and is amazing in my opinion. It's so amazing because it uses vacuum pressure in order to create a compression. It's so cool. It's based off the same idea as the old Daisy 109. But the old 109, the difference was that it used a spring instead of a vacuum in order to make the hammer drive forward in the pneumatic. So it is a gas pneumatic. You do have to pump it up. But the difference is that it doesn't use a spring. And I think they're so cool because it's so smooth of a shot. You never have to worry about getting the pellet out of the gun faster than the spring is compressing. And that's the difference between accuracy and stupidity. Okay? It's pretty cool. Most pellet guns, they cannot flatten pellets like that. Not without a little bit of added oomph, you know what I mean? So as you can see in the end of this skirt, there's still a little bit of that left over in there. And that's what it's supposed to look like when it's burnt off. Okay, it's supposed to be still a little bit left. Because that way you know it didn't detonate, and it won't. A little bit is supposed to stay behind. Now, Pardon me, that coffee's talking to me again. Let's take a look at what this looks like when it's appropriately leveled out in the back of a pellet. I'll be right back. 1, 2, 3. No. It's not over there. Okay. Now, from my other air gun, my air pistol, which is something I normally keep semi-loaded for this particular, just this particular air gun, because I have had death threats against my life. In fact, everywhere I move to, I seem to make an enemy, and I'm not trying to. I'm not an evil person. I don't go out looking for fights. They tend to find me, and it's not something I'm trying to do. I'm not making an effort to go out and find the fights. They have a knack of coming to my doorstep. All right. Sometimes I'll go out and I'll make jokes or something somebody takes personally, and they bring it to my attention and expect something like an apology, and I'm sorry about your butthurt feelings, but my humor doesn't end where your feelings begin, all right? Doesn't work like that. If you don't want to be the brunt of the joke, stay the fuck away from me. It's not rocket science. Now before you go, oh, he just pointed a gun at his face. It's open, jackass. That safety's on. Can't actually fire. Won't fire. What? Get your freaking head out of your ass. So, as we were saying, I'm getting the pellet out of this one because it's the only one that I have at this moment that actually looks like it should, because I was gonna make a string of them, and I ended up only making 2 or 3 of them, and I normally test a couple in order to make sure that the mixture works. It works, as you saw just before that with the pellet that I shot out of the rifle. You know, so this works sort of similar, but it's not the same. Okay, it doesn't collapse a pellet as much, and that has to do with the length of the barrel, not with the actual amount of air that is getting compressed into it. Because when a fuel oil diesels, it expands rapidly, and you get a pressure wave of about 1560, which means that your pellet will be traveling at a relative 1200 feet per second. Okay? Woo, Casper decided he wanted to join the old conversation there, eh? Whoa. So anyways, as I was saying, I need to get that pellet out of there, because it's the only one I got right now. Oh, let me pause this first. All right, y'all, there you go. It's fairly simple. You just use a little popsicle stick or whatever to stick that in the back. You know, a little popsicle stick, your pellet gunpowder, and you can see it does. It fills it up nicely and it stays inside. You could drop this on the ground or whatever. I didn't literally mean to drop it, shit. It's really bad practice to drop your pellets. But, who gives a shite? So here you go. As you can see, you can drop it. It'll hold just fine. It's bad practice to drop your pellets, but, you know, say you're in a frenzied hurry because you're trying to hunt a rabbit or something, and little buggers jumping around and getting up behind a bush, and you don't want to sit there and have to fish out another pellet and make sure that it's been topped up and whatnot, and you just, okay, well, fuck it all, I'm just going to grab the one off the ground, dump, dump that thing into your pellet gun and then lock and load and go. Okay, well, as you can see, I dropped it. That stuff's still in there, and it's staying in there really well too. You can see it holds its shape, it holds its uniformity, and you can see the googe from me dropping it is in the back of it. You know, it dropped on the skirt like this. So yeah, that stuff holds itself in there. It's important. That stuff holds itself in there, and that's why I'm holding it up here to the camera, because you can see, if you would stop focusing on me. If I could just get it to focus, you fuck! Holy shit, yo. Seeing as how it wants to focus on my face. Sorry, y'all, you had to get a big old nasty look at my mug right there, but I'm trying. I swear, I'm trying. Alright? I'm not the photographical genius in my family. That would be my uncle. I'm the mechanical genius. I do mechanics, and I know how all things in physics work. Okay? So, there's that. Anyways, as you can see, it's perfectly usable. Dropped it on the ground, picked it back up, it's fine. Because, you know, this is what we're aiming for, you know, the Pellpowder in there. That's the stuff that, as you see in this one, does burn off. It diesels off. Okay? And you're going to have a little bit of residue left over. You're going to have to clean out your air gun barrels every now and then. Alright? The difference is that you've got 3 times the energy dump on your target. Because this is moving at least twice as fast as an air gun would normally project one of these 22 caliber pellets. Now, before you ask, yes, this is a 22 caliber pellet. Okay? These are both 22 caliber pellets. The difference is that one has been fired, the other one has not. Okay? So, there you go. Pellpowder. Nothing special. Just a little bit of oil and some cornstarch. Okay? And that holds all that in there. It keeps everything perfect and fine. Fucking phone. The amazing tumbling cell phone. Damn thing tumbles more than I did when I was in the 3rd grade. So as you can see, it's useful, and it's only useful in one application, because you try to put this in anything else, this stuff will mess an engine up 100%. You'll have carbon buildup from hell. You put this into a vehicular engine. You put this into a pellet gun, and it mostly burns off. Okay, you get a little bit of soot in the barrel, a little bit. In fact, the last time I had to clean my air gun was actually a couple days ago. I had just gotten them back from the probation department, and the inside of the barrel, from shooting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Not just, you know, oh, I went through a shot string of about 50. No. Hundreds of rounds through this barrel. I lost so many rounds, I went through 3 tins and lost count. Okay? That's how many rounds it took before I was like, okay, I need to clean out the barrel. Because each pellet cleans the barrel and lubricates it successively. In succession. Okay? So, when this flies down the barrel, it pulls all that scrunge and builds it up on the head of it. And when it comes out the end of the barrel, because it's pushing through the atmosphere, all that scrunch gets blown off of it. Doesn't harm your accuracy at all. As a matter of fact, it kind of improves it a little bit. So anyways, you're moving a pellet much, much, much faster than it was originally designed to, so expect some serious deformation from your pellets, okay? If you're a hunter, that's a great thing. That's something that you want to strive for. If you're a hunter like me, this is something you're going to want to do, okay? This right here is something you're going to want to make, because if you can't utilize your air gun effectively, why do you own it? It's the whole point. If you're not going to utilize your air gun to the maximum effectiveness of that air gun, why do you own it? What's the point? Go grab yourself a freaking Red Ryder. Go grab yourself a Daisy BB gun. For serious. Quit messing around with the big boys' toys. If you don't want to utilize an air arm to its maximum effectiveness, why are you using an air arm? All right. Okay. So, let's go into what are the drawbacks of utilizing this. If your air gun is not made specifically with the idea of dieseling in mind, it will break it, because it is so much more pressure than your air gun is designed to handle. Okay? Here's the difference. I'm going to show you. With this air gun, as you can see, it has a steel block as the chamber mechanism. Okay? It is steel, not aluminum. Aluminum, you would not be able to put that amount of leverage on and then have this finite of an outside parameters for it to hold the tension on the barrel. This spring is extremely powerful. In fact, it's so powerful that if I shot this thing without dieseling it, the spring would cause the piston to fly forward so fast that the seal would slam into the front of the chamber wall. And it would destroy the seal on the air gun, because the seal is a PTFE seal, I believe. I could be wrong, and sometimes I am, but I believe this one is a PTFE seal. What is PTFE, you ask?